Alright, so this is where we begin, is in this planning phase. Again, write everything down and every step that we're going to talk about, and realize all these aspects. So whenever you're going through the project, know what you want and know how you're going to get it. And you need to explain all of that to the general contractor as you go. Alright, next up, we have to define our project. Define it well. The better that you can define it for the general contractor and all of the subcontractors, the better product and estimate you're going to get. So define your project size. If you don't have an idea, if you just want to add a few rooms to a business or to your house, something along those lines, and you don't really know what it's for, it's a family room. Well, do you want a wide family room, something that's tall, all of those things? Think about the size of that space and what you're going to be using it for. If it's just a workspace that you're looking to add, it should be relatively simple. If you're looking to add 4 people to your small business and you need some place for them to sit and operate, think about their tasks and what they work on in a given day. So define all of that in your project and write it down so that you don't have to forget or kind of go through things with the general contractor in a confused manner. If you want to, go ahead and start sketching things out to get a good definition of that, and use some nice graph paper for that as well. The scope is along the lines of the specifics. What other things are there? Define all of that for the contractor. So if you really need a lot of power, you might want to specify that you need an outlet every 3 feet. And you might need to have your electrical panel upgraded, or along those lines. If you have other scopes that say a bathroom needs to be added and it needs to be handicap accessible, all those items the contractor is going to need to know about in order to bid on correctly. The complexity of the project. So if you have something that's, if you have a kitchen that might be operating, say, in conjunction with an office or with your home, and you want it to flow correctly, and there's a certain complexity with, say, the HVAC or ductwork, or say you have the HVAC and a new system that you would like, such as radiant heat and cooling or geothermal system, that can add complexity to the project, and you're going to want to interview and talk to your general contractor about those complexities. Don't leave those complexities out and surprise them later. They won't like it, and not only that, they'll need to figure out if their subcontractors can handle such things such as geothermal systems, or if there's a complex window system, or complex lighting, low power, low DC voltage, any of those items. Think of those complexities and add them in and list them out so that the contractor can understand them. You might not know exactly what you're asking for. You might say, well, I really like this, and I saw this somewhere in a magazine. Save that magazine, pluck it out, and put it into your project notes so that you can explain it to the contractor and even show them. They'll say, oh, okay, I understand where this is coming from. I can go research it myself. The budget. The budget is going to be key for the contractor, and they're going to want to know if you have a limitation on your budget, whether it's a monetary, or perhaps it's over time that you get paid and you can pay them. They're going to want to know if you're ready to move, or if there's certain budget restrictions that they need to know about whenever you're doing this project. Also, when you're talking about the budget, they can help you out with determining, say, the sizes. So if you want to add a huge, say, atrium space or family room to your house, or just a general addition, and you have, say, you want to add a 30-foot by 20-foot space, and you realize that actually you only have the budget for a 20 by 10, well, they're going to let you know pretty fast what you might have a better budget for, and they can work with you on that. Don't hide it. And the other thing is, plan contingencies and tell them the contingencies that you're planning. If you have something where you don't know what the underground situation is, if you're doing an expansion or if you're doing a renovation of some sort, and you need to do core drilling or do something else with a foundation work, realize that you should expect some changes and some additional costs. Just because you tell them your budget for this project, they will stretch that budget to the maximum, and you need to have contingencies of your own in there. Tell the contractor what your contingencies are and that you don't want to go into them, because that puts you severely at risk financially, and you absolutely cannot cross certain thresholds, and you shouldn't talk about going beyond that. But do tell them your budget and be reasonable about it. Tell them that, hey, if your absolute budget is $100,000, they might budget down to, say, $80,000 and then add in items as you go in order to fit your budget, so that you never exceed the $100,000. But if there's something that goes wrong with structure or something like that, they have $20,000 extra dollars to work with. All right. Material types. Understand the materials that are out there that can lead to complexity and what will and will not work for your location. So if you're by, say, a coast, you're going to have some salt issues probably. So you're going to have some corrosion that you might want to protect against, and you might want to have sealant that you're going to use with all of your metals to protect it. So these are the material types. Maybe there's a different material, a plastic that you would rather work with, something that might work out better for, say, a deck or something like that if it's an outdoor space, or if you have a commercial space that you're looking at, if you have different material types there that can resist wear. And so you have a business that deals with a lot of manufacturing or just with parts, realize the material types that are going to work well for that. You don't want to have a mistake that's going to lead to poor wear or materials and such being used up within a year or two, such as carpeting. That can be one of the things that doesn't take a lot of wear for some of the options that are out there. The services that you want to look at with the general contractor include how you're going to use everything that they have to offer. So if they have something that might be potential for you to look at, is what kind of things do they do and what do they not do. Perhaps they do a lot of different renovations, but they absolutely don't do any foundations or roofing, those kinds of things. And perhaps they don't do, they never do something where it's design build. They hire their own services only, and they won't just build a project, they have to design it as well. So they won't entertain anyone that might not fit into their kind of categories as well. The other thing that you want to tell them exactly is your schedule, when you expect the project to be complete, what kind of time frame that you're looking at, and the schedule fits straight into the budget. And between those two, the contractor can say, well, I'm going to need a check up front in order to buy materials and get started and have my crew get allocated to your particular project. So that works all with your schedule, and you can expect them to start on a certain day or within a certain range of days. So they might be finishing up a different project, and you might have one or two people show up. And that might be alarming to some people. A lot of people think it's, that day one they're going to show up with a full crew of, say, 6 guys, and they're going to start hammering out your project. That doesn't necessarily happen. Talk with your contractor about that, okay, whenever you get to that point. But realize and put down your schedule, all right? And put down your contingencies to that schedule. If you want something to be done by a certain date, say July 4th, you want to have it done way earlier than that. So you might want them to start way earlier than that, so they have a good amount of time in order to start the project. It fits within their time frame, and also finish it without running up against, right up against the end of the project. The other thing that you need to be concerned about is, okay, with that schedule, how does your schedule fit in with their schedule? If they're not going to work weekends and you don't want them to catch up, or if they get behind schedule a little bit because of some snafu of some sort, then you better expect them to delay. And the other thing is, if you have a vacation and you don't want them to work on your house or your business while you're gone, that's another thing that you need to jot down in your schedule. So piece that all together on a calendar with your budget, how you expect to pay them, and what that money flow and cash flow should be along with it. All right, so that's basically how you're defining your project for the general contractor. And the more honest and upfront you are about all these items, the better your contractor is going to feel about the project, and the more they want to work with you. So hopefully this can lead to a better outcome of the project as well.